If you crave dark romance where danger blends into the crowd, where protection feels like possession and restraint is chosen over hunger, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Tonight's story begins at the bottom of a subway station, with the vampire who followed me up the stairs and told me to walk slower. I notice him before I realize why. It isn't the way he looks, though that comes later, sharp and unforgettable, but the way the noise shifts around him. The subway platform is crowded, restless, filled with the metallic shriek of an arriving train and the low murmur of commuters eager to get home. People bump shoulders, avert eyes, disappear into their phones. Around him, the air seems to hold still. I'm standing near the yellow line, headphones in, mind elsewhere. When that sensation crawls up my spine, the unmistakable feeling of being watched. Not glanced at. Measured. I turn my head. He's a few feet away, standing near one of the concrete pillars. White. Tall. Pale in a way that feels intentional, sculpted rather than sickly. Dark hair brushed back neatly, coat buttoned high, hands loose at his sides. His eyes are fixed on me. Not invasive, not hungry. Focused. Like I've tripped a silent alarm. The train roars in, wind whipping my hair around my face. People surge forward. For a moment I lose sight of him. And then the doors open. I'm pushed inside with the crowd, packed shoulder to shoulder. I grab a pole, steadying myself as the train lurches forward. The air is warm, too warm, filled with the scent of perfume and metal and exhaustion. That's when I feel it again. Presence. He's inside the car. Not touching me. Not crowding. Standing close enough that I can feel the cool of him through layers of coats and bodies. My heart jumps sharply in response. He notices. I don't know how I know, but I do. His head tilts a fraction toward me. His gaze drops briefly to my wrist where my pulse flutters beneath my skin. Then he looks away again, jaw tightening, restraint snapping into place like a lock. The ride feels longer than it should. Every stop, more people pile in. Every jolt of the train sends a ripple through the crowd that presses us closer together. He adjusts subtly, shifting his stance to block the worst of it, keeping his body between mine and the chaos without ever touching me. I try not to look at him. I fail. Up close, he's even more unsettling. Not beautiful in an obvious way, but precise. Controlled. Like every movement has been considered and deliberately chosen. I lean slightly toward the pole, trying to create space. Don't, he says quietly. The word is calm. Soft. Absolute. I freeze. You're crowding the edge, he continues, gaze fixed ahead as if he hasn't spoken at all. If the train stops suddenly, you'll lose your balance. I'm fine, I mutter. Yes, he agrees. But you're tense. I glance up at him, irritation flaring. You don't know that. His eyes flick to mine for the briefest moment. I can hear it, he says. Hear what? Your heart. The train screeches to a stop at my station. The doors slide open. I move with the crowd, pulse racing now for a different reason. As I step onto the platform, I feel his presence shift behind me. Never rushing, never lagging. He follows me. I tell myself it's coincidence. Same stop. Same direction. That happens all the time. We climb the stairs together. Bodies moving in sync with the flow of commuters. The station lights flicker overhead, casting harsh shadows that stretch too long along the walls. Halfway up, the crowd thins. My instincts sharpen. I slow slightly. So does he. That's when he speaks again. Walk slower, he says. I stop dead. What? I snap, turning to face him. People stream past us, barely noticing. He stands close now, close enough that I can smell him. Cold. Clean. Something faintly metallic beneath it. You're drawing attention, he says calmly. From who? I demand. From things that listen, he replies. I scoff. You're following me, and I'm the one drawing attention? Yes, he says. Because fear makes you loud. My mouth opens, then closes. You don't get to tell me how to walk, I say. No, he agrees. I don't. Then stop. He considers me for a moment, head tilted slightly, as if listening to something beneath the noise of the station. I can't, he says finally. Not yet. That should terrify me. Instead, my heart stutters in a way that feels disturbingly like anticipation. Why? I ask. Because you're not safe above ground tonight, he replies. And because you don't know who else noticed you. I swallow. You're assuming I trust you. Yes, he says. I am. Why? Because you haven't run, he answers. And because your pulse isn't erratic, just fast. I don't know what to say to that. We resume walking. The crowd thins gradually like a tide pulling back. Each step upward feels heavier than the last. The press of bodies loosening until there's finally space between strangers. My awareness sharpens with every inch of distance gained from the platform. The noise fades. The air cools. He adjusts instantly. Not by moving closer, by angling himself just enough that anyone coming from behind would have to pass him first. It's subtle, calculated, protective without being possessive. You walk like someone used to disappearing into crowds, he says quietly. I glance at him. Is that a problem? It can be, he replies. Tonight, it makes you harder to track. That sounds like a good thing. It is, he agrees. Until something decides to follow your rhythm instead of your direction. My pulse stutters at the implication. You keep saying things like that, I mutter. You know it makes this worse, right? Yes, he says calmly. But lying would make it dangerous. We reach the landing between staircases. The overhead lights buzz faintly, casting sharp shadows along the tiled walls. For a moment, it's just the two of us in the in-between space. I become acutely aware of how close he is. Not touching, never touching, but close enough that the space between us feels deliberate instead of accidental. You're listening again, I say. Yes. To what? To how your fear changes, he replies. It's not spiking. It's focusing. That doesn't sound comforting. It is, he says. Focus fear makes better decisions. I don't feel like I'm deciding anything, I admit. You are, he says softly. You're staying with me. The honesty of that lands deeper than I expect. Why do you care? I ask. He slows slightly, forcing me to match his pace. Because attention isn't random, he says. And because you noticed me before I revealed myself. That's not special, I say. It is to us, he replies. Most humans don't look twice. We climb the final stretch in silence. I can feel the city waiting above us, open, dark, unpredictable. My heart starts to race again, faster this time. He notices immediately. Slower. He murmurs, not commanding, just guiding. Match me. I do. Step for step, breath for breath, my body adjusts to his pace like it's been trained for it. The strange thing is how natural it feels, how quickly my pulse responds. There, he says quietly. Better. You're controlling me, I accuse, though there's no heat in it. No, he replies. I'm preventing escalation. That's a careful way to put it. Yes. We reach the top of the stairs. The exit doors loom ahead, glass smeared with fingerprints and city grime. Beyond them, night stretches wide and uncertain. He stops before pushing them open. Once we step outside, he says, you stay on my right. Why? Because it keeps your pulse shielded from the street, he replies. And because if something approaches, I'll hear it before you do. My throat tightens. You're assuming I agree. He meets my gaze steadily. You haven't said no. I don't. The doors swing open. Night spills in. The city feels different up here. Too open, too alive, shadows slipping between parked cars and alleyways. Every sound feels amplified. Every movement carries weight. He stays close now. Not hovering. Not crowding. Just present. His sleeve brushes mine once as someone passes too close, and I feel his attention sharpen instantly. You're doing well, he murmurs. At what? I ask. At not running, he replies. I'm not sure that's bravery. It's discernment, he says. There's a difference. We walk a full block before either of us speaks again. You said something noticed me first, I finally say. What does that mean? He listens again, expression tightening slightly. It means you were observed, he says. And observation leads to interest. And interest leads to what? I ask. Hunger, he replies simply. I stop walking. He stops instantly. That's not something you just drop into conversation, I say. No, he agrees. But it's something you deserve to understand. I fold my arms, trying to steady my breathing. So what? This vampire just follows people? Not people, he corrects. Patterns. Fear. Loneliness. Hearts that react before minds do. That sounds uncomfortably specific. Yes, he says. It is. Silence stretches between us, thick and heavy. And you? I ask. What do you follow? He studies me for a long moment. Restraint, he says finally. Because without it, I become indistinguishable from him. The admission settles deep in my chest. We start walking again. This time when my pace falters, his hand lifts. Not touching, just hovering near my back. A promise rather than a claim. You're safe, he says quietly. But you have to let me set the rhythm. I nod. And without realizing when it happens, I do. The stairs empty out into the street, where the city exhales. Cars hissing past on wet pavement, streetlights flickering uncertainly. The night feels too open after the claustrophobic press of the station. He stays at my side now, close enough that our sleeves nearly brush. My awareness of him is total. You should go home directly, he says. I am. No, he replies. You're distracted. And you're what? My escort. Yes. I laugh under my breath. You don't even know my name. I know your heartbeat, he says. Names are secondary. I stop again, turning fully to face him beneath the streetlight. What are you? I ask quietly. He doesn't dodge the question. A vampire, he says, voice low and even. The word settles between us like something inevitable. You could hurt me, I whisper. Yes. But you won't. No. Why? Because you didn't consent, he replies. And because I don't hunt in public. That should be reassuring. It is strangely so. We walk on. I become acutely aware of the city around us. The way shadows cling too closely to doorways. The way footsteps echo longer than they should. My nerves hum tuned too tightly. He notices every shift. When my pace quickens, his hand lifts slightly. Not touching, just hovering near my back, grounding without claiming. Slow, he murmurs. You're safe with me. Am I? I ask. Yes, he says. But not if you panic. What's following me? I whisper. He listens again, expression sharpening. Another of my kind, he says. Less careful. My stomach drops. And you're what? The careful one. Yes. Why help me? A pause. Because you were marked, he says. And because I won't let someone else decide what happens to you. We reach a darker stretch of the street. Shops closed, lights dim. My heartbeat spikes despite myself. He reacts instantly. He steps slightly in front of me, one arm lifting to brace against the brick wall beside my shoulder, not touching me but creating a barrier. His body shields mine completely. Stay behind me, he says quietly. A presence slides out of the shadows across the street. Too smooth, too deliberate. Another man, pale and smiling, eyes glinting with amusement. You're tense, the newcomer says lightly. She feels it too. She's not yours, the vampire beside me replies. She's deliciously unaware. The other murmurs, gaze flicking to my throat. My protector doesn't bare his fangs. He doesn't need to. Leave, he says. The confrontation is swift. Brutal. I don't see much. Just motion, a snarl cut short. The sound of something hitting concrete hard enough to crack. Then it's over. Silence rushes back in. My vampire turns to me immediately, attention snapping back into place. Are you hurt? He asks. I shake my head, hands trembling. No. He listens. You're telling the truth, he says. His hand finally settles at my wrist, light and deliberate. My pulse jumps, then steadies under his touch. You said you wouldn't touch me, I whisper. I said I wouldn't take, he replies. This is to keep you calm. And if I asked you to stop? I would, he says instantly. That certainty settles something deep in me. We walk the rest of the way in silence.